Hello. My name is Mike. My creators Larry and David cannot use their voices today due to a freak-poster-related accident. I will fill in for them while they are in their containment cages, their hospital wards, and teach you about the laws of motion. The laws of motion were thought up by a fine gentleman by the name of Sir Isaac Newton. His research brought us the theories that defined how objects act when they are in motion. Newton's laws are made up of 3 laws. Today, we are going to learn all of them. Don't frown at me like that. I know you've seen 3 or 4 videos dealing with the same subject already, but frankly I don't really care. The first law states that an object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest, unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. The white rusted car is at rest, but it is moved when it is affected by an unbalanced force, or in this case, an ambulance with Paris Hilton at the wheel. This demonstrates the first law of motion perfectly. All objects would attempt to resist any change in motion by an unbalanced force. This phenomenon is called inertia. Mass is a form of measurement for inertia. The more mass on an object, the more inertia, and the more harder to make the object move. The second law of motion states that the force of an object is equal to the mass of an object times its acceleration. This can be expressed with the equation force equals mass times acceleration, which can also be arranged to solve the other variables mass and acceleration. That was pathetic. It was like Spirit Day with the seniors. We must send in the heavy artillery. You have just witnessed the power of the Penwriter 3000. It killed 3 people during initial testing. Let's just assume that the ambulance weighs 5 kilograms, and when struck, would have an acceleration of 4 meters per second. Using the equation, we will find that the force of the Penwriter 3000 is 20 newtons. Now, let's see how we can use the second law to analyze history's finest moments. Let's go back to the Greek islands. 480 BC.
This is Sparta!
Okay. Let's assume that the Persian messenger weighs 80 kilograms, and he is falling into the Spartan pit of death 6 meters per second squared. By multiplying the mass with the variable for acceleration, we can conclude that the foot of Leonidas the angry Spartan has a force of 13 newtons. Don't pity the Persian, he's just an actor. The third law of motion states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When the stationary red ambulance collides with the moving orange truck, the red ambulance moves the same direction the truck was moving before the collision. This is the equal reaction. However, after collision, the orange truck stops moving. This is the opposite reaction. The reason why the red ambulance started moving when the orange truck stops is because the momentum from the orange truck is transferred to the ambulance. This is explained in the law of conservation of momentum. The law states that the total amount of momentum in an isolated system is conserved. In other words, momentum is conserved in collisions. Let's round it all up. The first law states that all objects in motion stay in motion, and all objects at rest stay at rest, unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. The second law of motion states that the force of an object is equal to its mass times its acceleration. The third law states that any actions would have an opposite and equal reaction. This concludes our special presentation dealing with Newton's laws of motion. We hope you enjoy this presentation. We shall use the remainder of the time for cheap bloopers, accompanied with appropriate, but out-of-date, 80s pop music.
Science!